Welcome everyone to another edition of Master Duel Tech Talk, where I happen to come across secret applications of certain cards and how to utilize it in non-archetype decks. Today's tech card, when this video goes up, is Wizard Buster Destruction Sword. It is a level 3 dark spellcaster with 1200 attack, 900 defense. And its effect says that you can target one Buster Blader you control, hook it up to it from your hand or side of the field to that target. And once hooked up, your opponent's monsters that are in the graveyard cannot activate their effects. And then you can send this equipped card to the graveyard, then target one Destruction Sword monster in your graveyard that isn't the card itself added to your hand. Now, why is this a tech talk of a card in terms of unique applications? What if I told you that this has other uses that's not Buster Blader? Well, let's give it a check-see on the application. It being a spellcaster with 1500 or less attack means you have easy access off from the Allure Queen package by having any Allure Queen equipped to whatever, just so that you can have any Allure Queen equipped sent to the grave in terms of Allure Queen names, just to transition into Wizard Buster, which is absolutely nice. But if we're talking about like how to utilize the application in terms of decks that rely on so much graveyard, that basically means we have a lot to discuss. And because this is the unlimited edition, meaning there are no rules, everything is legal. So whenever you have Chaos Queen hooking up with Wizard Buster in terms of being an equipped spell, that means your opponent cannot Fable Lurie in terms of the discard effect, and then your opponent cannot Fiendsmith Engraver to recycle. Same goes for the Lacrima Chick. And then he unchains Rakea, Sarama, Aruha, and then any other fiend piles, being they cannot Requiem or Sequence in terms of graveyard effects to hook themselves up as equipped spells. They can't Lacrima Fuse to recycle and burn for 1200, and they cannot use the graveyard effect of Desiree to spot removal by any means necessary. And then for the rest of the Unchained, they definitely cannot get the graveyard effect of Yama to recur, and they cannot Sharvara to straight up set an Unchained spell trap, which is huge. For the Yubel section, in terms of seeing Wizard Buster being equipped, they cannot use the graveyard effect of Spirit to get another Yubel. And let's say if for some reason they find a way to get Yubel in the graveyard without triggering off from its own mechanic effect, no graveyard effect of Yubel, so that no leveling up into Terra Incarnate and no leveling up of Terra Incarnate into the Ultimate Nightmare, which is insane. Branded matchups. If you expect to see so much branded, they cannot Renbrum to bring back Albaz. They cannot Mirror Jade offering the graveyard effect to Ticking Time Bomb. And they definitely cannot Albion in terms of straight up set a branded spell trap from the deck, which is huge. White Forest variant mirrors. White Forest variant mirrors where if you expect on your opponent's turn, while you have Wizard Buster being hooked up, they cannot OGLZ to recur herself. And then when it comes to the other White Forest, they cannot Stellar LZ Azamina's graveyard effect in terms of Synchro Summon. They cannot tag in, tag out off from Sylvie and or Rusia in terms of saving White Forest, which is huge. Blue Eyes matchups. Blue Eyes matchups is extremely incredible for that matter, especially with the Primite stuff. So in most cases, Wizard Buster being hooked up by Chaos Queen, they cannot get a plus off from Whitestone the Legend. They cannot get another Blue Eyes monster off from its graveyard effect or recur a Blue Eyes monster. Same goes for Maiden in White's graveyard effect if they happen to special a Blue Eyes monster, which is huge. And last but certainly not least, in the unlimited format, is Shizu Tearlament matchups. Let's say, for example, if you have Golden Queen on the field and you have Chaos Queen on the field with the Palace setup. The moment your opponent activates that grass looks greener, chain Chaos Queen just so that you are able to target Wizard Buster to hook it up as a equip spell. And because Wizard Buster is being hooked up as an equip spell, once that grass resolves, any monster that they milled off from that grass looks greener in terms of the main deck size difference of comparison, they will not get monster effects ever. Meaning, no Tearlament's Reinhardt to Reborn himself, no Merly, Sharon, or Havness to Fuse Summon, no Tier Cash effect for the extra mills from the get-go, and then when it comes to the Tearlament fusions to be specific, no Tearlament fusion in terms of Kaleido Heart or Rukalos is going to Reborn. And let's say in this exact same scenario is where if you have Chaos Queen on board, well, Golden Queen, excuse me, along with Chaos Queen, I keep on having similar faces in terms of the differences between the two queens. If you have the two queens on board, if they go Tearlament's Kick Kalos, target self, you can chain Chaos Queen, target Wizard Buster, hook her up, and before that, Kid Kalos ends up going to the graveyard to special out tier cash. When it comes to a total of milling 8 does literally nothing off from tier cash and or Kid Kalos because like the tier cash mill 3 effect off from the on-field effect, sure, no problem. But if they were to do a total of the mill 8, that's being canceled because anything they hit off from tier cash in terms of milling 3, it literally does nothing. And on top of that, they cannot use Kid Kalos because of Wizard Buster being equipped. And of course, Snake Eye is one of the most huge potentials of matchups, to be specific. So most cases, if you ever expect to go against Snake Eye, to be specific, most cases, they cannot use Poplar's Graveyard effect, and on top of that, they cannot use Flame Burge to recur 2 level 1 fires at the same time. Let me know down in the comments below about what you guys think of the applications of Wizard Buster. Earlier on, throughout the course of testing with this card, I find Wizard Buster to be unique and super incredible for the Allure Queen lines. I thank you guys for tuning in. If you love to see more tech talk in the near future, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell to keep yourself constantly updated. Also, be sure to use my campaign code in the description below so we can gather the missing prizes for the leftover content. I thank you all for tuning in, and I shall catch you all next time.